Hi there, it's Martin Rapley here from Refurbishment Mastery. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why I don't buy listed buildings. I've been really fortunate over my career to have worked in a huge number of listed buildings. Many of them are commercial buildings, a lot of them were churches, but I've also worked in residential properties and schools and specialist buildings like that. And one of the things I've learned about listed buildings over that time is that they can be a liability. And the reason I say that is because as an owner of a listed building, we are actually only custodians. In reality, although we buy it and we own it on paper, the control of the whole building is somewhat with the state. It's with conservation officers and heritage officers, specialists that know how to look after these historic buildings. So as a result, as an owner of a building, we are being dictated to by other parties that are telling us how to look after our listed buildings. Now, of course, we all want to look after our buildings. We want to be ensuring that our listed buildings are with us in the country for many hundreds of years to come. In fact, we want that for our buildings generally. We need to be looking after our buildings so that they don't deteriorate. However, the thing with listed buildings is we've got someone else outside of our control telling us how to look after those buildings. And if you are buying a listed building to live in yourself, you need to be aware that you are a custodian, and without any doubt there's thousands of people who live in listed buildings and they know they're a custodian and they've bought the building because they want to live in a listed building. They perhaps restored it, renovated it, got it back into looking at, into a good state of repair. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that at all. Now, the reason that I don't buy listed buildings is because I'm a property investor. And as a property investor, it's really hard for me to budget and work out the cost of the maintenance of listed buildings. It's really hard for me to factor in the risk of a conservation officer saying to me, Martin, whilst you're doing this work inside the building and everything you're doing is perfectly all right, we would like you just to repair this defective brickwork on the outside, or replace this bodged repair that was done in 1970 something, or reinstate this to the condition that it would have been when it was built. Because those are the kinds of costs that suddenly skyrocket your budget and take the whole project out of control. So for me, I don't buy listed buildings. I actually invest in a part of the country where there are a huge number of listed buildings, and we regularly pull up the map to ensure that properties we're looking at are not within, don't actually have a listing on them, or within the areas where there are these listed buildings. So, not saying you shouldn't buy a listed building, particularly for your own house. If you're going to live in the house, absolutely, take on a listed building, and I'm pleased that you want to take on a listed building. Be aware that you are a custodian. You're going to be guided by people who are not necessarily looking at your budget. But for me, as a property investor, listed buildings are a no-no. Just to close this off, I'm well aware there's a lot of property investors that do invest in listed buildings, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but just go into it with your eyes wide open so that you know what you are committing to. So if you like this video, then do please click on the like button, and we'll tell you when we're sharing our next one with you. My name's Martin Rapley. I look forward to catching up with you on another video.